So there are two types of resistance. There is real resistance and then there's token resistance, and it's very, very important that you know the difference between the two of them, because one of them is her actually becoming uncomfortable and then the other one is her pretending to be uncomfortable, which we'll talk about why that actually might happen in a little bit. So look, you 100% want to know the difference, because you never want to find yourself in a situation where you're actually making the girl feel unsafe, as if she couldn't stop you if she really wanted to, and you don't want to traumatize her, and you 1000% do not want to deal with any legal problems because you did something that you thought she was comfortable with when she actually wasn't. And you also don't want to find yourself in situations where you thought the girl was really uncomfortable and really she was being playful and giving you token resistance, but you backed off thinking it was real, and now you lost your chance with the girl. So for example, I was on boot camp with the students one time and we pulled some Italian girls back, and she and I started talking about the things that women have to go through, about feeling slutty when they're acting on their sexuality and whatnot. And she told me that one time she was in a club and she almost hooked up with the bartender in the bathroom, and when they got there, right before they were about to have sex, she says, "Look, I'm not that kind of girl. If you want to have sex with me, you can meet me tomorrow and then we'll have sex." And if you think about that, that's kind of funny. You know, she's like, "We're about to have sex, but no, tomorrow." But in any case, he agreed to do that and he backed off completely. And she told me, I didn't even want him to back off. He just did it because he just did. And then when I asked her about, so how did the date go? She said, "Oh, I didn't go. I didn't show up." And I was totally surprised. And when I asked her why, she said, "Look, if he really wanted it, he would have gone for it. He lost his chance. Clearly he didn't want it that badly." So, keep that in mind. Now let's talk about some signs about real resistance. So if you ever notice the girl ever tensing up or pushing you back or stepping back herself or doing anything where she's actively trying to get away from you, these are signs of real resistance, and you need to back off and you need to give her a chance to become comfortable and feel safe again. Also, if she feels like, confused or comes off like she's panicking or is getting a little aggressive, that's also real resistance, and you want to deal with that too. So for example, if you approach a girl and she freaks out and steps back and is like, "Whoa, what are you doing?" You want to back off and say, "Whoa, I am so sorry. I did not mean to scare you. My mistake." Or if you go for the makeout and then she pulls her head back and is trying to escape from your face, just be like, "Whoa, I thought you wanted me to kiss you. My bad if I was wrong." You really need to show her that understanding, and you need to show her empathy, and that's why we call these things statements of empathy. And what that basically is you voicing to the girl that you know what she's feeling and that you know what she's thinking, and that you're kind of the guy that gets it, and you're not just some psycho weirdo who's out of his mind, and instead you're actually just a confident dude who's into her and wants to make something cool happen for you guys. So for example, you're going to say things like, "Whoa, we could slow things down if that made you uncomfortable and we're going too fast," or, "Whoa, I did not mean to freak you out." So statements of empathy can also be made by telling the girl what you were actually trying to do and explaining to her where you're coming from. So for example, if you were to say, we're having such a nice moment and I just wanted to make it better, so sorry if I freaked you out when I tried to kiss you. That'll show her so much understanding and be like, "Wow, okay, I get this guy." Also, you could tell her, "Look, just so you know, I'm a pretty expressive guy, so if I say something or do something that freaks you out a little bit, just tell me and I'll back off, because I don't want to lose you. I'm just kind of like letting myself become comfortable with you." You also might say, "Yeah, I'm kind of the guy that says no to most girls, but whenever I meet a girl that I really like, I just go for it, because I know how rare it is that I meet a girl like that. So if I do something that's a little too, too sudden for you, just tell me. I'll slow it down. My bad, because I'm not trying to freak you out." She needs to understand that you're not trying to hurt her and you're not trying to make her feel unsafe, and that all you're trying to do is have a good time with her. And so you're going to give her a lot of control over the conversation. And the best way I know how to explain this is through the unprotected sex analogy that I've come up with. So if you think back to a time where you had unprotected sex, you probably didn't mean to do it on purpose, especially the first time. So you were probably hooking up with a girl and clothes were coming off and you began rubbing yourself against her, and at every moment you felt like, okay, I could, I'm getting closer, but I could stop this at any time. And because you felt you had complete control over it, you ended up just going for it, and then before you know it, you're having sex without a condom. And so it's the same thing here, where you want to give the girl complete control and let her experience whatever she's comfortable with, but because she could call it off at any moment, she feels way more comfortable, and then that's how sex will happen, is because she thinks, okay, not a big deal. Any moment I don't like this, I'll just call it off. Now, signs for token resistance are, for example, if you're, making out with her and then she says we shouldn't do this, but then she starts unbuttoning your pants. That's what we call token resistance, where she's basically saying one thing, but then she's doing something else and she's continuing to go along with it. And there's a number of reasons why girls do this, and it happens quite frequently, actually. And if you think about it from her perspective, it actually makes a lot of sense. So she might feel that if she says no, that's the right thing to do, but she's so caught up in the moment with you because she actually likes you that she just kind of goes with it anyway. Or she might be subtly role playing that, she's pushing you off as like real resistance, but because you want her so bad, she goes with it, that you go for it anyway, which turns her on more to see a guy just want her that much. And yeah, it's just role playing. She also might feel that she wants to make you feel like you won her over, so you don't judge her like many other guys have in the past, where they're like, oh, she hooked up with me, so she's a slut that anyone could bang. She's cheap, I don't want her. She doesn't want that. And she also might feel like if she tells you no, and then there are consequences later on because she did it, she could fall back and say, look, I wasn't even going to do it. He convinced me. I went with it because it was his idea. And then this way, less accountability is on her. So you need to make sure that throughout the interaction, you're constantly making her feel comfortable and safe, and you're acknowledging whenever there's real resistance there and there's real insecurities, and you're not paying too much attention to it or giving it so much importance, so that when it's token resistance, you're just not taking it so seriously that you end up losing the girl. So as the leader, you need to know the difference, because she's not going to handle her own insecurities on her own. You have to make it happen so the two of you could have an awesome experience together while everyone feels safe and comfortable.